At the beginning of the film, we are transported to a construction site. A lot of men in helmets are engaged in various works, sometimes having a snack and just chatting. They also pass each other a card and sign it. One of the men, Paul White, gives the package to his daughter, Sydney White, who is helping at the construction site. The girl sees that she is being congratulated for going to college. Sydney is also given a new computer to study on and is asked to remember to have fun. She thanks everyone for the gifts, and the moment of farewell comes. Sydney gives Big Ron a hug and asks him to call her. The girl recalls that it was construction workers who raised her. From childhood, Sydney was used to being on a construction site with her father, the plumber. She learned to flirt with people she liked by whistling, while her father explained to her the basics of his profession. At the age of 9, Sydney lost her mum and began spending a lot of time with Paul. Using plumbing pipes, the man tried to explain to his daughter the structure of her female system. Sydney comes back to reality and puts a photo of her mother in her suitcase, realizing that she still misses her even after many years. With her father, the girl goes to the bus station, where they say goodbye. Sydney gets on the bus and begins her journey. During the journey, the girl opens a special box from her mother. In it, Sydney sees a letter for her first day of college, as well as photos of her mother, a badge, and the charter of the Kappa Phi Nu group she was once a member of. The action moves to the current KPH group chairwoman. Rachel pulls up to the Kappa building in her high-end red convertible. The girl enters her room and is delighted to see on the website that she is still the prettiest girl in college. Meanwhile, Sydney finally reaches the college and settles into a dormitory. She almost immediately meets Dinky, a goofy-looking girl who gets excited when she learns that Sydney's mum, like her mum, was a Kappa chairwoman. The girl says that her whole family was in the KPH and she has dreamed of going there all her life. Dinky shows her new friend her outfits, one of which she is going to wear to her first Kappa party. Sydney goes through her things, however most of them are comics. Dinky offers her friend to go to the party in one of her outfits. Sydney is excited about the offer, as she has never had friends before. Meanwhile, Rachel convenes a meeting where she invites Tyler Prince, whom she really likes. The girl tells her that instead of the Outsider House, which is on the campus, there are plans to build the Witchburn Life Center. Rachel and Tyler's parents have already allocated money for this. This concludes the meeting. Tyler leaves the building and flirts with one of the girls. Rachel convinces the guy to go back to her, but he refuses, reminding her that she dumped him at school. Meanwhile, Dinky and Sydney go to the election of Kappa contenders. On the way, Sydney catches a ball that one of the tough guys threw at the outsider. The girl throws the ball back, catching Tyler's attention. The guy approaches Sydney and offers to walk her to the Kappa building while giving her a tour and talking about the other houses. Before entering, Dinky leaves the pair alone together. From excitement, Sydney talks a lot, but Tyler even likes it. Rachel observes their conversation from the window. In the Kappa building, a lot of beautiful girls are chatting with each other, discussing outfits, boyfriends, studies, and more. Rachel appears in front of them and reminds them that their task is to choose the most beautiful and worthy contenders. In addition, special attention must be paid to the two heiresses, Dinky and Sydney. The girls listen to the requirements, after which they sing the hymn, Kappa Phi Nu. Finally, the contenders are led inside. Sydney finds the twined all over by Wisteria gazebo, where her mother was photographed. Christy and her friend learn that this girl is the heiress and take her to Rachel. The head of the group is not very pleased with Sydney as she flirts with Tyler. With Christy, Rachel observes the main character and says that she is not suitable for Kappa. The girl decides that Sydney should try to qualify herself, but most likely she will not succeed. In the evening, the contenders talk to the contestants in the living room. Sydney lies that her father is a developer, as she realizes that almost everyone here is the daughter of rich people. At night, the pretenders go to sleep in the same room on the floor. However, after a couple of hours, Rachel and her girls wake everyone up. The chairwoman says that only the best will get into the Kappa, so now they have their first task. Without brushing their teeth or brushing their hair, all the contenders must find a boyfriend in 15 minutes and bring him to the diner. Together with the others in the hustle and bustle, Sydney runs out into the street. Almost all the girls immediately find a mate, and Sydney is left alone on the street, but soon finds a strange guy named Lenny. At the last moment, Sydney and her mate run into a diner. During the snack, the girl chats with Lenny about the outsider's house. Rachel calls all the contenders to her. The girl informs them that Sydney has picked the worst guy, and therefore must dump him to keep competing for a place in the Kappa. But Sydney starts to argue, and then Rachel says that otherwise she will be out of the challenge. Sydney tricks Lenny into going to the women's bathroom. When the boy returns, he sees that everyone from Kappa has already left. The next day, Sydney goes to a lecture on politics. There, she once again confronts Rachel, who believes that only the elite are worthy to rule. Sydney accustoms the girls in Kappa to a delicious and hearty breakfast. Rachel continues to select contenders, studying their appearance, knowledge of Kappa's history, and willingness to do even dirty work to join. The girl still looks at Sydney with resentment and anger. Meanwhile, Sydney has another conversation with Tyler, which upsets Rachel. One day, Sydney goes into a political science class. The girl sees Lenny in the company of Spanky and Jeremy and tries to apologize for the incident of the night. However, the guy replies that this is typical behavior for Kappa representatives, after which he leaves. Rachel announces that there will be a ball soon, after which it will be found out who will get into the Kappa. By lot, the girl gives Sydney her dress, however she purposely chooses a black one. The girl laughs at how Christy and Rachel are trying to maintain their positions on the site. During the ball, Tyler offers Sydney a dance. On the introduction, Rachel embarrasses the character and refuses to accept her into the Kappa. Sydney rips the girl's dress and leaves, saying she doesn't want to be in a place where everyone is like Rachel. She finds herself in the outsider's house and meets Garkin, who writes a strange blog, Terrence, who can't finish college for years, George, who can't tie to knots, Jeremy, who wears a doll on his arm, Ambele, who sleeps forever, and Spanky, who likes to flirt with girls. Before going to bed, Sydney calls her father, but can't find the strength to tell him about their Kappa exile. The next day, Tyler offers the girl to talk. However, she is not happy about this possibility. Sydney goes back to the guys at the outsider house and offers to run for student council. She is sure that in this way they will be able to put the crumbling house in order. Sydney makes an analogy with the Avengers and asks the boys to fight for their future. Terrence is proposed for the role of president. Together with the others, Sydney draws a campaign poster for him. In her free time, the girl uses her skills as a plumber and improves the house. Sydney helps the guys with their problems and even brings everyone to the gym on Saturday. Spanky immediately tries to seduce the girl at the gym. Meanwhile, Rachel discovers that the second place, after her, is taken by Sydney. During the election campaign, Sydney attracts people's attention by giving out free drinks. Dinky approaches the girl and apologizes for what happened at Kappa. The girl notices the soy cutlet and discovers that Lenny is making it for himself. Dinky flirts with the boy, however. Then the arrogant Rachel appears. The girl quarrels with Sydney, after which she leaves. In the afternoon, the girl sees an inscription drawn by her mother in the library. Tyler appears at the desk with a song and asks Sydney for a date. When the guy goes to pick her up, the other guys from the outsider house warn him to behave with Sydney in a dignified manner. Tyler brings the girl to the church, where he distributes food to the poor. From the owner of the institution, Sydney learns that at first the guy got here because of punishment but has been working voluntarily for a couple of years. After the date, Tyler brings the girl home. Sydney realizes that her neighbors have been following her and promises that she will not tell them anything about the date now. Tyler returns to his room and sees Rachel there. The guy is sure that Sydney will not win the election, however. He likes her as a girl. After hearing that the date was great, Rachel gets very angry. The next day, everyone in the Kappa house tries to hide the terrible news from the girl. However, Rachel still gets to the computer and learns that the number 1 on the website is now Sydney. The girl is ready to ground the character into the dirt so that society dislikes her. That same night, Sydney invites her new boyfriend to the outsider's house. Tyler even manages to beat Garkin at a computer game. The guy invites everyone to his party. There, the Kappa girls make a mockery of the guys from the outsider house. Sydney learns that Terrence will not win, as he is no longer at that college. Also, Rachel tells that Tyler was planning to tear down the outsider's house. Upset by this, Sydney leaves the party. The boys are evicted from the outsider's house and move into a motel. Sydney finally admits to her father that she didn't get into Kappa, and he advises her to fight for what is really important to her. She makes the decision to run for council and overthrow Rachel. Sydney is supported by the weird and unpopular societies at the college. She prepares her campaign using the experience of John F. Kennedy. However, Rachel, with the help of a hacker, installs a poisoned apple, a virus that deletes all data, on Sydney's computer. The girl sits in the library all night trying to recover an election speech. Sydney falls asleep at the books, and people start to gather for the election. Tyler wakes the girl up with a kiss, and she makes it to the debate on time. Many outsiders come to support Sydney. She gives her speech and encourages them to be proud that they are all little weirdos. Many of the guys make weird confessions afterward and gain support. Dinky confesses that she's in love with Lenny, and Jeremy communicates without a doll. Eventually, the Kappa girls expel Rachel from their society. Sydney wins the election. Together with her support, her father's team, and Dinky, the girl manages to fix the outsider's house. Terrence becomes rich by selling his analytical idea, and Sydney finally gets together with Tyler. This is the end of the film. Thank you all for watching this video to the end. Give this video a like. Write in the comments what you think about this film, and see you in new videos.